Hi everyone, happy Friday and welcome back for another process video today. I am doing another layout using the Bella Boulevard Campout collection. It is a couple years old. This is another layout that I did at the crop I was at in February. So I have a few more layouts from that crop to do, which is good because I have not had any time to scrap at home. I have to tell you, I think I went to sleep in February and woke up in April. March just absolutely flew by. So, yeah, I'm glad that I have all these videos from the crops to be able to still upload every day. So, anyways, back to the layout. I have, I'm not sure how many photos I got on this layout. Quite a few, though. I can't remember for sure, but I think that I am following some kind of sketch a little bit. I know that there are a couple places on the sketch that I believe it's either off of Pinterest or it's probably another scrapbook generation sketch that I'm following. But there were a couple places that called for a 4x6 photo, and I just added 2 3x4 photos. I think that is a great way to get more use out of your sketches, and also occasions like this when I have a lot of photos, I can add more photos to the sketch. So I'm just trimming down all my photos, and I left this in so that you could kind of see that as I cut my photos, I'm sort of placing them down so I know which photos are going to go where, so that I make sure that I cut them all to the right sizes. So I got all my photos cut down, and now I'm going to go through the paper pack, and I'm taking this tag off this paper. This is not really an acetate paper. It was like a clear, I can't even think of the word to explain that cloud paper. I was originally thinking that I was going to use that to go across both pages, but because of the shape of it, I decided that it probably wouldn't work as well as I was thinking. So I'm just going through the rest of the papers to decide which ones I would like to use, and I'm going to start out with a few of these papers here, and then I'm going to start trimming them down. I was just placing the photo on top of this one just to make sure the photos would stand out well enough on this busy, because you know me, I do struggle with really busy pattern paper backgrounds. So now I'm just trimming up, and I'm not sure if I'm going by exact sizes. I might be 3 inches each on that one. I originally cut that large one down thinking it would be the main. Usually when I do a double page layout, I like to take 12 by 12 sheet and span it across both pages. It just helps to make the 2 pages flow as one. But I end up changing my background choice. It was just too dark and too busy. So I'm going to tear this one instead of cut it. The one that is already cut there, that first strip, I had torn part off of in my last layout that I did, so it already had a torn edge. So I thought I would go ahead and tear an edge off the second piece, thinking that it would just kind of look a little better. Again, we're by the water, so I like the thought or the look of torn paper edges on water pages, or you know, just any kind of boy pages, just different type of pages. So now I have all my strips cut down. I'm going to get out my 12 by 12 backgrounds, and this is where I realized that that background paper is just too busy. I really like the colors and the dots, but I struggled with that. So I pulled out this acetate sheet, and I believe this is a different one than I used in another video. I believe this is a full 12 by 12. So I tried it out, and I really liked it. Not only does it get it used up, because acetates are sometimes a little harder to use, can be, but it makes a really good background, and I like how it's just a little something different. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that down. I thought maybe there would be, sometimes acetate sheets or pieces come with a backing, but I don't believe this one did. And I'm going to go ahead and glue it down. And again, I'm just adding glue along where I know these strips will cover up the acetate, so none of the glue will show. And it holds it just fine. It worked out just fine. I brought it home. I've moved it around. I've taken a picture of it, so I didn't have any problems with it sticking. So now I'm just going to work on the right side of the layout and just making sure that everything is going to line up. I like to put my two layouts together and then make sure all the strips line up. And I have to tell you, most of the time I'm off by like 1/8 of an inch or at least a tiny bit, and whatever, it doesn't bother me. I do store my all my scrapbook pages in 3-ring albums, so there's usually a gap anyway, so even if the pages were exactly together in the albums, they're not going to be completely lined up anyway, so it doesn't bother me if they're a little bit off. So I'm going to go ahead and start gluing down all my photos, and this layout I think it turns out to be kind of a simpler layout. There's not a whole lot of crazy clusters, and I do add a bunch of enamel shapes at the end and fill it up a little bit, but it does turn out to be more on the simpler side, and I like how it turns out. I am just laying down all my photos, and you can see here where I put these two 3x4 photos. Whatever I'm following did call for a 6x4 photo there, so you can see what I mean. And also on the right side of the page where there's the two 3x4 photos together, that actually called for a 4x6 photo also. So I'm just gluing the rest of them down, and then after I get them all glued down, I am going to work on my embellishments. And my title for this page, maybe I'll talk about that in a minute when I come to it. And I know this sketch, I do know that I added a few more extra photos in a couple spots that didn't call for on the sketch. So it's really easy to fit a little extra photo here and there if you can cut them down. I believe those smaller ones might be like 2.5 or 2x2 squares. So this is all the stickers and everything that came with the collection. So the chipboard pieces had a bunch of these little fish and this little heart that says family fun, I believe, and a little cloud. And I don't think it was really very cloudy that day, but I just like the way the cloud looks on there. So I don't care that if it was cloudy or not. So I'm just going to go through all those chipboard. I got out the pieces. I tried to spread them across the 2 pages so that it would help lead your eye around to each different cluster. And then I got some of these stickers out, and I'm going to use a few of these, and I'm going to use some foam tape to pop some of them up. I popped up the arrow, the green arrow that was on the right hand side, and it doesn't take me long before I start gluing down my clusters. I believe I start here, and I had that little blue sticker. I can't see what it says on the screen now, but I knew that I liked it right there next to that heart. So I'm going to go ahead and start gluing that down. And the heart is kind of red and very bright and does draw a lot of attention to it, but when the page is done in the end, it doesn't really show up as much. So I'm fine with how that turned out, and I really liked the heart. So now I'm just kind of gluing down the fish. I'm kind of gluing them at an angle so that they're not real straight, you know, because fish aren't straight, obviously. So I'm just adding a few more stickers around. On this layout, I didn't really worry about the rule of thirds or having an odd number of clusters. I just kind of played around with it and added things all over, just a little bit here and there. So here is where I'm working on my title, and I'm just calling it Pit Stop. I'm not exactly sure where this is that we stopped. We were just near Fort Stevens, and we kind of the same area as my last layout, the Peter Iredale. So we had stopped and looked at that ship, and then on the way back to our campsite, we stopped at this place to play, and it was great. There was nobody else there, and the water wasn't too cold. It just like part of the bay, I think it was. So since I didn't really have a name, I just put Pit Stop because that's kind of what it was. We just kind of randomly pulled up and got out and decided to take a look around. So we were here for quite a while. The kids really had a lot of fun. The water wasn't very deep right there, and so they got to play in, and they brought the dog in, and just had a lot of fun in the water. So and of course my boys got covered with sand and dirt and sturdy and wet as they could. So I'm just glued down all my chipboard. Those are Bella Boulevard chipboard alphabet stickers, but I'm not sure how old they are. I don't believe they went necessarily with this collection, but since Bella Boulevard uses mainly the same colors, I used them with this collection. So, but I did add extra adhesive to my chipboard, as I always do. And then there was this little tab sticker, and I'm just trying to use up different stickers and get the colors moved around. I tried to add it up here with the cloud, but it just didn't fit very well. I didn't really want the cloud on the left-hand page because there was already some chipboard stickers on that side, so I kind of wanted them on the cloud to stay on the right page. So right now I'm just taking off the backing of a chipboard piece, and I'm adding some adhesive to it, and I'm just going to glue that down. That was that fish on that side, and there's not a whole lot more that I add. Again, this collection, the rest of it is more towards like camping. I thought originally there was a couple things that said something about the lake, and I thought maybe I would use them, even though this really isn't a lake. It's kind of more of a bay, but I don't end up using them. So there was this heart sticker border, though, that I tried using on the last layout, and I liked it here. The only thing I struggled with before I placed it down was the fact that it went over the photo on the right page. And it was extra thick, so you could see me there just now. I just kind of tore off a couple of the layers of the chipboard, so it has a little bit of dimension right now, but it doesn't stand up nearly as much as it did. Being that it's at the bottom of the page, I didn't want it to really stand out that much. So I'm gluing that down, and it takes a few extra minutes for it to stay glued down, even with the Tombow glue, because it's on the acetate. So I do have to kind of hold that in place for a minute. And I went ahead and I just added the hearts or part of the border over the photo on the right-hand page. I think it looks okay, and I didn't want there to be nothing, and I didn't want to put it coming out of the right side of the photo because that would have left a big gap between that heart border and the pattern paper, and I would have felt like I needed to fill that gap. It just would have looked funny to me. But having it over the photo, I'm not 100% crazy about, but I'm okay with it. So I think the page turns out good in the end, and nobody's really going to notice anyway. So I just went with it, and I like that it's down there. It just adds a little something more to the page. So I just left that there, and you can see I'm still trying to hold it down because it's being glued to the photo and the acetate. It does take a few extra moments. So I added another sticker there, and I'm still trying to get that border sticker to stay down. I should have put something heavy on it, but because I was at a crop, I didn't have a whole lot of extra things, so I didn't worry about it. So I got out some of my red enamel dots because I knew that that red heart was so prominent on that side that the red enamel dots do help bring your eye around the page and not just get stuck on the one red heart. So here is basically where I am just going to add, I think I added a red enamel shape in each cluster area, and then I added one of these. These white ones are Bella Boulevard. Again, they are newer. They didn't necessarily come with this collection, but same thing with these blue ones. These are also a Bella Boulevard. So all these enamel shapes, I put white in each cluster, red in each cluster, and a blue shape in each cluster. And when I got home, I put my journaling on some journaling strips and glued it down on the left-hand side. And that is my layout for today. I hope you guys like it. Thanks for watching, and I will talk to you next time. Bye!